1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this will take way too long. Let's be honest, we don't actually know how many people have ever lived. In fact, we don't even know how many people are alive right now. Sure, we've got census data, but there are still contacted tribes, undocumented births, and entire regions where records are not that reliable, especially in developing countries. So even today's number is just an estimate. A very good one, to be fair. However, the total number of people that ever lived will be a much harder number to estimate. But it's doable. We can at least get an idea of how big of a number we are talking about. What do you think? Pause the video and leave your guess in the comments. Alright, so to estimate this number, we need to track the total population throughout human history. Thanks to the United Nations, we have reliable population data for the last 75 years. From 2.5 billion in 1950, Earth's population has skyrocketed to 8 billion by last year. Before that, we have estimates from various sources, and of course, the accuracy decreases the further back we go. These estimates are based on archaeological evidence, historical records, and demographic modeling, using things like birth rates, life expectancy, and average number of children per family. To estimate the population for the years in between, we have two options. Either average the estimates from each source first, and then interpolate between them, or interpolate each source separately and then average the results. I chose the second option, and I used the simplest form of interpolation, linear. Around 12,000 years ago, when agriculture began, the global population was likely less than 4 million, comparable to the population of modern-day Croatia. Fast forward to the golden age of ancient Greece in the 5th century BC, and the estimated global population had grown to around 175 million. But although the population kept increasing through the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and the early modern period, it wasn't until the mid-18th century that the global population finally reached 1 billion. Estimates of the population in prehistoric times are of course much less reliable, but we do have some idea. So let's start at the very beginning. The first Homo sapiens appeared around 300,000 BC. Early populations were likely no more than 25,000 individuals. Over the next tens of thousands of years, the population remained small and scattered. Limited resources, constant threats, and high mortality rate meant that growth was painfully slow. By around 75,000 BC, the global population may still have been below 400,000. But then something happened, something bad. Around 74,000 years ago, a massive supervolcano erupted in what is now Indonesia, an event known as the Toba eruption. Ash filled the sky, blocking sunlight and leading to a long volcanic winter. Temperatures dropped, ecosystems collapsed, and food resources were very limited. This event nearly wiped out humanity, with some estimates suggesting that the population dropped as low as 10,000 individuals. But thankfully, things eventually got better. As the climate stabilized, humans began to recover. We began to recover. Why am I talking in the third person? Anyway, by migrating to new parts of the world and forming more complex societies, the global population reached 4 million by 10,000 BC. And that completes the puzzle. We have now mapped human population through all of history. Sure, lots of estimates and lazy linear interpolations here and there, but this is roughly how humanity grew. So now what? How do we calculate the total number of people that ever lived? Well, if we know the population for each year, we can estimate how many people were likely born in that year. The simplest way to do that is by dividing the population by the average life expectancy. Do that for every year in history, Add all those births together and we get the total number of people who have ever lived. For example, if we just use today's average life expectancy, which is around 72 years, we get only 27 billion people in total. But that's way off. Life expectancy hasn't always been this high. Not even close. Just 75 years ago, the average life expectancy was only 55. But that's mostly because of child mortality, which drags the average down. And that's exactly why life expectancy gets way lower the further back in time we go. It's not that prehistoric people were dying of old age at 10, it's that so many died young from diseases, injuries and other constant threats. Of course, it's very hard to accurately pinpoint life expectancy throughout history, but using those figures, we can estimate that the total number of people who have ever lived is 86 billion. That's not far off from other published estimates, and here we can see how this number is distributed over time, era by era. Most people apparently were born during the Bronze Iron Age, which of course spans almost 4,000 years. The more recent eras might look small in comparison, but remember that they only cover a few decades. In fact, what is really astonishing is that 10% of all people that ever lived are alive right now, including you and me. Did you guess that right? Were you expecting more or less people? I was expecting way more, to be honest. But that's the beauty of digging into data. The results, more often than not, will surprise you. See you next time.